All right, I'm about to start. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's SOAP session. Today, we'll be doing a workshop covering all things leadership. So for today's presenters, you can see that I was able to bring on two special guests who I'll go ahead and let introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brenda Aguilar. I am one of the leadership interns here at the SDLC.
Hi guys, I am Gabriela Munoz and I'm the second leadership intern for the SCLC.
And like always, my name is Adriana Villegas and I'm one of the student org support interns, also with the Student Engagement and Leadership Center. So within the student org support team, we have Mallory Bayan, who's the assistant director for not only student orgs, but also fraternity and sorority life and the Terry program. We have Tavares Peterson, who is the coordinator. And alongside me, I also have Joanna Whitaker, who is the other student org support intern. So of the ways we like to support you all, we like to hold virtual office hours, which are open to all student org members and their advisors via Zoom. So you can connect with us for any questions you might have, or if you come across any problems, we can help you all troubleshoot. And we don't schedule appointments for these. You just pop on in any Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at those different times. But if any of these dates or times don't work for you, please feel free to send us an email and we can set something up. So you can see we have the meeting ID and the passcode on the screen, but if you'd like the link, it can be found on our website under the SOS section on the SOS Resources tab. All right, and now getting into today's topic of leadership, I pulled this quote from John Wooden from last week's presentation on leadership, just saying that the most powerful leadership tool you have is your own personal example. So for me, I take it as, becoming a leader yourself inspires others to want to become leaders themselves. So, if you're becoming and developing yourself as a person, bettering your leadership skills, other people are going to want to be like you and, want to be the leader that you're coming off as. So that's kind of just stressing the importance of leadership. But now I will hand it on over to Brenda.
All right, so leadership development. Here at the leadership department at the SDLC, we believe that developing your formal leadership is key throughout your time here at UTEP, just so that you can utilize and pick up on these skills and tools that are being given to you and take them with you after you graduate and apply them to, career or grad school, my bad, or whatever you choose to do post-graduation. So leadership development is a form of developing your leadership skills, right? Whatever you do or are involved in currently throughout your college career is a continuation of you forming and working on your leadership skills, whether that be in a group project, a student org, or even in your classes. Leadership development allows you a chance to network with other leaders. This, in my opinion, is just as important as networking with your professors or any higher ups from your job, especially in a student org where they see your work ethic and can recognize your potential. This could end up in them guiding you to helping you in which classes you should take or even your next job. In my case, that's exactly what happened. I was involved in a student org and one of my peers was working at the SCLC and told me that there was a job opening. And so I applied and now she's my coworker. So that's just an example of how networking with other student leaders can work towards your. And lastly, it helps you engage in critical discussion surrounding leadership identity. In any group setting, you will be critical discussions or even important decision-making processes. So it's not only to recognize your own leadership styles, but it's also really important to recognize those in others and just kind of finding the middle ground that works for everyone. So just think of anything that you do in your college career as practice and preparation for whatever you choose to do post-graduation. Next slide, please. So everyone was a leader. Yes, we want you all to recognize this throughout the presentation, that a leader doesn't have to be, a a specific person or a specific position, or even be a part of like a box that we might have subconsciously made in our head of what a leader should do or act or be like. Everyone can be a leader, especially in college. So throughout this presentation, we'll help you all identify your leadership styles, articulate what leadership means to you, and recognize leadership potentials within your peers. Okay, so leadership styles. There are plenty of leadership styles that can be found on the internet, but for this presentation and for today, we'll be focusing on these five. First up, we have authoritarian leadership, which can also be known as the autocratic leadership. And this is kind of like what everyone expects a boss, or presume what a boss is going to be on, or I guess in this case, like a student board president, what kind of leadership they'll take on. I don't know, bossy, gives clear commands, but a person who takes on this form of leadership gives clear instructions and expectations to team members in order to receive the best outcome. In this form of leadership, there is a clarified chain of command, and there's pretty much little to no group input. So that's authoritarian. For participative leadership, it's quite different. It's rooted in the democratic theory, in which the leader tries to include everyone and anyone in the group to be a part of the discussion and be a part of decision-making processes. The team leader usually ends up having final say in the end, and the team members feel included and motivated, and it really creates a strong environment. We also have delegative leadership, which is also known, it's really commonly well known as laissez-faire leadership, in which the leaders hand over the initiative to team members to get their individual work done and to make their own decisions. This typically works best in teams that enjoy taking on responsibility and prefer to work individually. This is, I believe, my form of leadership style, because it allows team members to gain experience in leadership tactics, on their own, and also stimulates productivity and positivity within the team members. We also have transactional leadership, which is known as the give and take form of leadership, where transactions are made between the leader and team members, such as rewards, positive affirmations, and even sometimes punishment in order to get the job done. Once the team members complete an assigned task, they will be transactions based off of their compliance and work. So there's a clear establishment between goals and tasks amongst all team leaders and team members, and it increases team motivation and productivity. Lastly, we have transformational leadership, which is known to transform the lives or work ethic of the team members, where the leaders who use this leadership style tend to inspire and encourage team members to accomplish any goal. This really places a high morale and high motivation amongst the team and strengthens the relationships between the team leader and team members. So yeah, I'll go ahead and hand it off to Gabby, who will go over do's and don'ts.
Okay, so here we have some leadership do's and don'ts. So leaders are and or will, first of all, be a team player, push and motivate team members to do their very best, see attainable goals / tasks for team members to accomplish. Leaders will also value the feedback that is given by team members and apply it. Leaders will also thoroughly and constantly communicate with the team members and always look for ways of improvement. What leadership is not only about taking on a higher position role, it's so much more. So it's not just getting a position because you think it would look good on your resume. It's about actually leading people and inspiring them. It is forming an unattainable list of commands it is not forming an unattainable list of commands for team members to accomplish. So don't be a dictator, take everybody's opinion in. Leadership is not being inconsiderate of team members' opinions or ideas. Leadership is not miscommunication with team members. It is not tackling on all the task assignments by yourself. That's why you have a team. It's about learning how to delegate when needed. And leadership is not about receiving all the credit as well. Next slide, please. Okay. So now we have an activity for you guys that is the leadership scenarios. So these are the instructions. Using the leadership styles that Brenda went ahead and mentioned and the do's and don'ts that I just went ahead and mentioned, we are going to use these to lead appropriately in each of the cases we're about to give you guys. You are going to identify the leadership style from the answer your team selects from the list of options for each scenario, and you will determine what you would do if you were actually put in these scenarios and consider what leadership style you would use for each scenario.
So what's good about this activity is that this is something you all can, create custom scenarios for your student orgs, and maybe just, make it a fun activity in which you all learn about each other's preferences in terms of leaders, and what works best for them when working with leadership. All right, so the first one, as a VP of your student org, you have noticed that 2 of your officers are working together effectively with encouragement from you. Lately, however, conflicts between them have caused problems at meetings and lower morale. So here are the kind of 3 options or 3 different routes you could take in handling this situation. So the first one is get them together and tell them how they can resolve their conflict and see that they do it. Talk to them separately to get their ideas, and then bring them together to show them how to work out the conflict using their ideas. Or tell the advisor and let them figure it out. And with these scenarios that we'll be going through, there is no one, correct answer. It just depends on the person, depends on the people you're working with, because you never know how you may need to adapt to accommodate your different leadership styles, or just, kind of fitting of the situation itself. So we will just go on over. So again, this is just a scenario. Again, if this was something you wanted to utilize within your student org, feel free to, take a screenshot, use this as I guess like the base or the example that you can use, or the model even, to kind of set up your own little workshop for your members. Just to kind of go through each style and let you all know, which one works, I guess, and the style that fits with it. All right, so the first one, so getting them together and telling them how they can resolve their conflict and see that they do it, is an example of participative leadership. This is because you try to include everyone in trying to resolve the conflict. You want them to be actively a part of the decision-making process, and this can lead to a stronger team working environment. So that is participative leadership. The next one, in which you will be talking to them separately to get their ideas and then bringing them together to show them how to work out the conflict using their ideas, is an example of delegative leadership. And this is because initiative is handed off to another team member, and they are stimulating positivity and productivity within the 2 officers. So, they're kind of going back and forth with their own feedback, just to kind of, accommodate both of their mindsets. And the last one, in which you would just tell your advisor and let them figure it out, is an example of authoritarian leadership. And this is because it involves very little group input. You're kind of just handing it off, but there is a clarified chain of command in which, you're handing it off to, your higher up to take care of it. All right, here's the next one.
All right, for our second prompt, you were recently appointed as president for your student org. Since taking over, you have noticed a drop of performance. There have been changes in student org policies, and your members have not abided by them. Worst of all, they do not seem to be motivated to learn these policies. In a team meeting, you would, and we have 4 options for this one. So A is discuss the org's drop in performance, listen to their concerns, and ask for their solutions for improving performance. B, express your faith in their strategies emphasize their past efforts, but periodically check on performance as they carry out their strategies. C, explore alternatives and incorporate their ideas. Modify the plan if appropriate and award and rewards if you see that they implement it. And lastly, D, outline and direct corrective actions you want them to take. Define roles, responsibilities, and standards, and closely monitor their performance for improvement.
Really quick, I
Yeah, I
just
think
want to
we'll pause
add
with-
that I think D got cut off for whatever reason, but just know we'll be going over that option, essentially just explaining that leadership style still.
There's the prompt again. And for A, we would consider it a participative leadership, just because the team leader is trying to encourage everyone involved to be a part of the decision-making process and create a stronger team working environment. For B, it would be transformational leadership because the president is encouraging the organization to accomplish their own goals and allows members to get motivation through this. C would be transactional leadership because the organization is getting something in return for their efforts. And D, which we mentioned that is not listed, but we're still going to go over it. D would be authoritarian leadership because it has little to no group input and gives clear instructions and expectations to the org in order to receive the best outcome.
Okay. For this last one, the prompt is, your team is very competent and works well on their own. The enthusiasm is high because of a recent success with events and programs. The performance as a group is outstanding, and as the team leader, you must set goals for the next semester's events. So A, praise them for this semester's success, involve the group in problem solving and goal setting for the events next semester, and encourage them to be creative and help them explore alternatives. B, praise them for this semester's results, challenge them by setting the goals for next semester, outline the action steps necessary to accomplish these goals. C, you praise them for this semester's results, you ask them to set goals for the next semester and to define their action plan to accomplish these goals and to contribute to discussion when asked. Or D, you praise them for this semester's results, set the goals for the next semester, and outline the action steps necessary to accomplish these goals, and solicit the group's ideas and suggestions and incorporate them if possible. Okay, so for the first one, praise them for this semester's success, involve them in group problem solving and goal setting for the events next semester, and encourage them to be creative and help them to explore alternatives, would be transformational and delegative leadership, just because the team leader is encouraging the team for those to success and is allowing the other members to work together and accomplish their overall goal. For B, it would be transformational and participative leadership, because although the team leader is encouraging the team for all of their hard work, the initiative is then handed off to them, in which stimulates teamwork and productivity. And for C, the last one, it would be transformational and participative leadership. Transformational and authoritarian leadership, because although the team leader is praising them for achieving their collaborative results, there is still a clarified chain of command in place, and this scenario has little to no group input. So a couple of takeaways we get from this presentation are 10 qualities for emerging leaders. So what does it mean to be a leader? The first quality would be being a visionary, right? Because leaders must view themselves as what they could be and what they want to be in the future. They must envision what the future holds for them, not only for them, but for their group. The second one would be to be enlightened, because strong leaders must be awakened to the point of understanding what is happening in the world or in the environment surrounding them. Of course, a leader has to be confident. It's very essential for a leader to be confident, and they must believe in their own capabilities. The fourth one would be persistent. A persistent leader is what makes a good leader, They must be persistent in their own goals and visions. Maturity also, a good leader is physically, mentally, and emotionally matured, and they must be able to adapt to changes, and they must be able to handle this with ease. Leaders are also very charismatic. It is effective for a leader if they are charismatic. A good leader brings energy and laughter to the organization. A very charming leader, it captivates the heart of their subordinates and molds them into their personalities. Another quality for an emerging leader is to be wise. A good leader must be wise. They must be sharp and sensitive, and they need to face crucial decisions at the points of the organization. Of course, also you need good communication, and effective communication is very significant in good leadership. It is very important for a leader to listen by heart and not just by ear. They must know how to speak to the public and influence the people with their message. Of course, a leader should also have integrity. A great leader means what they say. I'm sorry. They always keep their word and they keep their promise and are viewed as trustworthy. And the last one for qualities for an emerging leader is to be firm but fair. So a good leader is firm with the rules but fair to everyone. They do not have favorites in the group and treat everyone fairly. And being a leader means to distribute tasks to your subordinates fairly, right? Those are some of the takeaways.
All right. And I just want to add that, like I brought on the leadership team's interns for this presentation, they also respectively have their own programs in which you can learn more about more about yourself as a leader, more about how to become a leader, and then just getting involved in just learning about leadership in general. So I definitely encourage you all who are watching this later that if you're wanting to get more involved and wanting to learn more about leadership, that you go ahead and start participating in their programs because they're super fun and that both of them are super great at putting on these programs for you all. Okay, and like always, the SOS team is here for any problems or support you may need. We're always just an email away, or you can easily just stop on by the virtual office hours if you need to connect with us in real time. And just I guess just general announcements, if you're looking for more programs to attend, you can visit the Minors on Monitors website to find more fun events, just to kind of take a break from the week. And if you're wanting to learn about leadership again, please go ahead and stop and attend the leadership team's programs. These are all shared on our UTEP SCLC Instagram and other social media platforms, which I'll be sharing with you all soon. All right, and we are winding down the amount of SOAP sessions we have left. There are currently 4 more after this one. So you can see we have them on creating and forming bonds in organizations, transitioning back to campus, and having a keynote session at kind of looking towards the future of student orgs and going back on campus. And we have one more Dave Kelly workshop as well on officer roles and responsibilities and transitions. So all of these can be found on MindTracker, and we'll be sharing them on our social media as well. And Joanna is the other student org support leader, and one of the programs she oversees is MindTracker 101. So if you're wanting to learn more about the different tools and different resources that MindTracker has to offer, please stop by her session. They are held on Zoom, and you can see we have 2 more after this one. Right, we'll just skip past this. All right, and like I mentioned, you can find us at UTEP SCLC if you're wanting to stay up to date with all of our programs on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And, like I've mentioned before, all of our sessions for, MindTracker 101 and SOAP are recorded and posted onto YouTube. So you can find us at UTEP Student Engagement and Leadership Center on YouTube. So you can see our past sessions. Yeah, so I just want to give a big thank you to the leadership interns for joining me. This was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun putting this together for you all. Thank you all for watching this if you're on YouTube right now. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you all at the next one.
Bye.